Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach as well. I hope everybody is keeping well. I was saying to the cantor when we came in this evening, it's so lovely to have it still be so bright and light outside. It messes with your head a little bit as we're welcoming Shabbat, but we make a gradual transition and it affords us the opportunity to, with eyes wide open, slide into Shabbat. So join us please as we turn to page 121, and we'll begin by kindling the Shabbat lights as we say together, O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and into our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
And together, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Join us please on page 123 as we continue with Kiddush. We'll ask you please in body or in spirit to rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesh b'yavahu v'ratzon hini lanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom tehila v'mikra'e kodesh zecher letziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kirasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha b'yavahu v'ratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Please be seated. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let all of these drop away at the door. And in the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We'll continue now on page 129 with the singing of Dodi Lee.
Me
Continuing the theme of love and beloveds and Shabbat and Israel, we turn now to the words of Lecha Dodi on page 138. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And at verse 9, we'll rise in body or in spirit, here or at home. We'll turn to the door of entry and we'll welcome the Sabbath. I hesitate to say be seated because you're all dancing, but please be seated. You can dance from the waist up at home and here as well. Let's continue on. That is the essence of Shabbat, actually, is to feel so moved to dance and to be that the delight is palpable. We'll continue now on page 145 as we say, entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, and even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the presence.
יתקרל ויתקדש מרבה.
Amen.
ואמרתי ברכירותי והמליך מהותי בחייכנו ויומכם ובחיי דרכו בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב והימרו
Amen.
יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם מהמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרמה ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתענג שמי קדושה לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה והימרו.
Amen. We turn now to our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 146, and we rise.
La 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 la
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Le'olam.
And please be seated.
Together. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anahi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam b'ham v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shobecha u'mecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'einecha u'ktaftam ha'mezuzot beitecha v'sharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Let's continue praying responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Continue to work with the day, and the nation will be run at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did. חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני ישראל.
I was imagining at this time as the Israelites came through the Sea of Reeds, and they must have been elated and frightened at the same time, excited and nervous, the sense of awe in all ways that the word is understood. That it is so fitting that the rabbis went right from Micha Mocha in our prayer book, right to Hashkivenu, to some rest. It feels very Jewish. So excited, right? We were talking about how many of you had Sidarim that were different this year, that were lovely and wonderful, but had a different vibe this year, necessarily so. And that still it was exciting and wonderful and tiring, but in that fulfilling and good way, and that our rabbis knew, and our prayer book reflects that we might need some rest. So we turn to the words of Hashkivenu, and we say, give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporeis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue now on page 162 with the singing of V'shamru.
V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Be'eni u'ben bnei Yisrael, be'eni u'ben bnei Yisrael, oti le'olam, ti le'olam. Yam b'ribibam, Shabbat, yam b'ribibam, Shabbat, Shabbat, yam b'ribibam, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. ים בריביביי, שבת שבת, ים בריביביי, שבת שבת, ים בריביביי, שבת שבת, שבת שלום.
We'll continue now with the tefillah on page 164. We'll invite you, please, in body or in spirit, to join us and to rise as we offer our thanks.
Adonai sefata tiftach ufia yitehiltecha. Adonai, open up my lips, let my mouth declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekoneh HaKol, Vezocher HaZeavot v'Imachot, Mevi Gila libnei bnechem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham be'ezrat Sarah, atah gibor le'Adonai, Mechei hakol atah Rab le'Hoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel Chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachmat. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמר ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. And please be seated. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
We continue with the singing of Ritzeh.
Modim anachnu lach, when we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulechana Elohodot.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tesim Le'olam.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. We take a few moments in silence, in meditation, in prayer. We continue now with our prayers for healing and wholeness, for strength, for patience, for courage, for kindness of care, as we say, Mishaberach Avotenu v'Imotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leahu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah bless and give healing and strength to those who are struggling. This evening we're holding in our prayers Shena Esther bat Rochel, Sarah bat Avraham v'Sarah, Alan Skirker, Laura Braun, Stephen Brent, Rini Feingold, Irving Manis, Kim Stanger Delisle, Gabriel Berger, Brian Mansfield, Michael Shartok, Miriam Nemitz, Casey Zachman, Allie Goldsmith, Barbara Petro, Valerie Brownstein, Liz Steinberg, Stephen Breiger, Claire Cowing, Linda Champion, Allison Rohrer-Sekeli, Sarah Postelnik, Stanley Niskoda, Gwen Tucker, Yetta Fegala by Yecheskel Vitova Hinda, Steve Whitaker, Dennis Linsner, Yoka Adar Stam, Jamie Rosenzweig, Rachel Wicks, Leslie Jacobs, Robin Trimble, Karen Rudin, and Jean Harris. If there are others who you would add to our list for healing and wholeness and strength, please, as I look your way, would you share that name or those names aloud with us? And from home,
Ina Stanko,
together with those whose names have been shared, we'll add to our list those whose names have not been shared aloud, but whom we are holding in our prayers, along with the very many who are caring for those who are displaced, the millions who are displaced right now, leaving Ukraine, all of those who are supporting them in all the neighboring countries here at home, and the very many hearts and hands that are doing the very heavy lifting right now that is so desperately needed. Let us join together all of those names with the very many more who are in places that perhaps we do not know, but they are in our prayers for healing and wholeness and strength. As we say, may the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for wherever possible, health to be restored and strength revived. May God send renewal of body and renewal of spirit, and let us join together in saying, Amen. Join us please on page 677 for O Guide My Steps.
Oh, guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps. Guide my steps and help me find my way. I need your shelter now. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps and help me make each day a song of praise to you. Rock me in your arms and guide my steps.
In addition to today being Shabbat and the end of Chag, the end of Pesach, today is also the 7th day of the Omer. During the 7 weeks from the second night of Passover, which we just completed, until Shavuot, we count the Omer. In ancient times, an Omer was a sheaf. It was an ancient measure of grain and refers to the barley offering that was brought to the temple on the second day of Passover. And according to the passage from Leviticus, we read, "You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days, and you shall present a new meal offering to God." So from this, we learn that the Israelites were to count the 49 days between the bringing of the omer and the bringing of the second offering of the new grain. But after the temple was destroyed in 70 of the Common Era, the Omer offering could not be observed anymore, but the practice of counting the Omer continued and is still observed today by many Jews, inviting the question, why? If that practice no longer takes place because the temple was destroyed, why do we still count the Omer? So perhaps it is because it helps us make the connection between Pesach, when we were liberated from bondage, and Shavuot, when we received the Torah. Perhaps it is as though the Jewish mystics suggest, it is the connective tissue joining our people's physical at Pesach time and spiritual at Shavuot time redemption over one period. So admittedly, there are very few Reformed Jews, I won't take a poll, who continue the counting of the Omer, seeing it really as an antiquated practice, linked to cultic practice, temple practices, which no longer apply. But like so many of our ancient customs and traditions, we liberal Jews have continued to be curious about it, both studying its intended meaning and reclaiming it, or at least trying to reclaim it, as a way to lift up this time and connect us to our past. I don't know about you, but I think all of us have spent an inordinate amount of time enumerating moments lost to COVID and are eager to look ahead to re-entering Jewish life more robustly. And the counting of the Omer offers us a renewed opportunity to both count and recount in a Jewish way. So the practice of Sfirat HaOmer, of counting the Omer, typically takes place at night, commencing on the second night of Pesach, as we discussed, and we count the Omer each night after dark with a blessing during those 49 days, saying, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, al Sfirat HaOmer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with the mitzvot, so far so good, like most of our prayers, right? And commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. And then the count is stated in both total days and weeks. So we have weeks and days, and so we would say, Hayom Shiva Yamim Shehem Shavua Echad LaOmer. That today is 7 days, which is 1 week of the Omer, so we chunk it like that. I have to admit that each year, at this time, I struggle mightily with whether or not to count the Omer, wondering if in fact it is one more thing for me to add to my to-do list, or a ritual really that could bring deeper meaning, I am sure, and connect me to the broader Jewish community. Each and every year I wrestle. So when people ask me in my workday if they can ask me a question, I often joke, sure, unless it's math. Perhaps shedding some light on why a ritual that involves counting causes me some extra strife. At the same time, however, with the irony not lost on me, one of my very favorite verses from Tanakh comes from Psalm 90, which says, Teach us to number our days rightly so that we may attain a heart of wisdom. I love that passage. Teach us to number our days rightly so we may attain a heart of wisdom. Numbering our days is a kind of math that I can both understand and respect. Rabbi Emily Siegel captures some of my thoughts when she says that there are so many ways we mark time and that we number things in our own lives, daily, weekly, monthly. And as time passes, we often find ourselves counting in our own lives and on our work as well. So a snapshot of my timeline, different than each of ours, different than yours, different than anybody who we might ask, offers a counting and an accounting of some pivotal moments. So I said this morning at services, it's 1 year ago and a day since my father unexpectedly died. It is 2 weeks ago since I stood on this bima and was officially installed. It was 2 years after the time that was supposed to have taken place. 6 years almost that I have been a part of this beautiful Temple Sinai family. 24 years since ordination. 1 more year until I earn my Doctor of Divinity, whatever that means. Almost 21 years ago that I became a mother. 47 is my favorite number for absolutely no reason. 493-4478 was our telephone number when I was 10 years old, and which I can recite to this day without even having to think about it. I am one of 3 siblings, which is the same for my mom, for my brothers, and for my own kids. 12:22 a.m. is almost always the time, I don't know why, that I go to sleep unknowingly. 18 is the gematria, the numerology of Chai, life, an all-important number to us as Jews, and a number that figures prominently, I have to say, in most days of my life in some way, shape, or form. 3 times each day to pray. Will I or won't I? 20,000 steps. Will I or won't I? Would you like to round up at the checkout counter? Will I or won't I? Can we count on you to make a donation? Will I or won't I? Many numbers and so much counting, together with countless moments of gratitude each and every day. And then conversely, there never seem to be enough hours in the day to get it all done. So sometimes we take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. How many of us are here tonight, here in person and here online? We cannot help, really, on counting and recounting, counting and accounting. So Sfirat HaOmer, the counting of the Omer, gives us an altogether different frame in which to take notice, not merely of numbers, but really of the passage of time. Rabbi Ruth Adar, attempting to answer the question of why we Reformed Jews should consider the counting the Omer, suggests that it really fosters self-improvement, that in preparation to receive the Torah, we work to become better Jews. And the Kabbalists, the mystics, point out that the Omer is counted for 7 weeks of 7 days, and they match them with the 7 sfirot through which God interacts with the world. And each of the 7 days within those weeks are matched with the sfirot, with these emanations, and the various permutations of godliness which provide an opportunity to study and to engage towards self-improvement. And then there's another tradition, and that is to read and study Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Fathers, the first chapter of the Mishnah, which consists mostly of advice on proper behavior and attitude during this same season of counting. And then second, the rabbis suggest that this is an expression of anticipation, that when we are excited about something, we count the days to the event. I'm thinking of the universal "Are we there yet?" moment of family travel, but which really underscores that when we articulate something or we behave in a particular way, we cultivate the emotions and the thoughts that go with that behavior. So when we count the Omer, we cultivate excitement about Torah in our lives. So on this 7th day of the 49, I have decided to challenge myself, and I extend lovingly the offer to you as well, to either continue or begin counting these next 41 days with an eye toward becoming, for me, and you will decide for yourselves, to becoming a better Jew by committing to becoming more educated, engaged, and involved, by increasing a commitment to tikkun olam, to repairing the very broken in this world, and to cultivating excitement about how Torah can enrich my and our lives in a living and a vibrant and a dynamic, unmistakable way. Sfirat HaOmer reminds us of the value of counting and of being accountable, teaching us to number our days rightly so that we may attain a heart of wisdom. So on this 7th day of the Omer, this is my hope and my prayer for all of you. If you decide to count, may your counting be at the same time compelling and grounding. May it be challenging and satisfying. As we say, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who makes us holy through commandments and has commanded us regarding the counting of the Omer. And we join together in saying, Amen. Amen. Let us continue as we turn to our concluding prayers to the Aleinu. That can be found, I'm not counting, but I think the number on that page is 586. Page 586, for which we'll invite you please to rise. We pause now to think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. During the period of Shloshim, these last 30 days, we are mourning the loss of the Israeli terror victims during this last month. Amir Khoury, Rabbi Avishai Yecheskel, Rabbi Yaakov Shalom, Dmitry Mitrik, Victor Sorokfut, Shirel Abukart, Vaizan Falach, Laura Yitzchak, Rabbi Moshe Karbitsky, Dorit Yachbas, Tomer Morad, Etam Magini, and Barak Lufin. From our community, we are mourning the loss of Dolores Kleinberg and Janice Temple, stepmother of Leslie Lockett. So too do we mourn the loss of Madeline Albright. This Shabbat marks a yahrzeit, an anniversary of passing for Levi Baker, Aaron Beckwith, Gabriel Chekow, William Fawcett Jr., Evelyn Fromm, Phyllis Friedson, Ada Gerber, Saul Goldman, Sarah Golub, Pearl Goldenberg, Nelson Gorin, Doris Groden, Lev Katz, Robert Kellerman, Hyman Klein, Rena Coleman, Rhoda Kotok, Peter Liebschutz, Barbara Locketts, Samuel Mazer, Sarnoff Mednick, Jack Myers, Ruth Pincus, Philip Rakov, Betty Rifkin, Baruch Rivshin, Mildred Rosenbaum, Florence Rosenfeld, Leah Roth, Morton Sarakin, Marjorie Shire, Ruth Schildkraut, Lenore Specterman, and Lawrence Weiland. If there are names that are better spoken aloud by you or names that you would add to either list, please, as I look your way, would you share that name or those names aloud? And from home?
Hillel Him.
David Friedman.
Deborah Domenuco, Bernie Schwartz.
David Kosh.
Zichronam livracha, may each of their memories be for a blessing as we turn to page 598 and offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish together. Yit kadal v'yit kadash shmei rabbah, be'alma divrach yerutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach leolam olmei olmaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu, ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all who mourn, to all Israel, as we join together in saying, Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Please be seated. Some announcements this evening. We want to begin by thanking Elise Wojciechowski for being our board greeter this evening, and to invite you to join us, please, on Zoom tomorrow morning at 9:15 for the continuation of our Torah study. We are in the book of Exodus, very timely for where we are in the festival season as well, and then Shabbat morning services in person or on Zoom at 10:30. No religious school on Sunday. Tuesday evening marks 7 p.m., please, for the next installment of Kibbutz Zoom. And Wednesday evening, there is the annual and communal Yom HaShoah commemoration, this year at Monroe Community College in the theater at 7 p.m. Both of us will be there and are participating on behalf of Temple Sinai. We hope that you'll join us as well. Next Friday night, we have Erev Shabbat services at 6 p.m., and the cantor has put together a beautiful Israeli music Shabbat. Next Saturday morning, Zoom Torah study, and then please join us either in person or on Zoom. Rabbi Yulia Gries will be joining us. She'll be joining us via Zoom from Germany, but she will tell her incredible story from what I have heard. Leaving Ukraine, she is from Odessa. She was serving a congregation there. Together with her congregants, she is now with many of her congregants in Germany, and she'll be joining us remotely to tell us from her perspective the incredible and harrowing story. I think we are all still dumbfounded to know is worsening, and so we are honored that she is sharing her time with us next Saturday morning via Zoom. Our Sunday, May 1st, is Mitzvah Day for everybody who wants to participate at 9:30, and you can find the information on our website. And then Wednesday, May 4th, we have Yom HaZikaron at Temple Bethel at 7 p.m. We'll invite you please to join us there and to mark your calendars. And then we finish the Yoms with Yom HaAtzmaut, our community celebration at the JCC on May 5th. So we've got May 4th and May 5th consecutively, and we hope that you'll join us at any or all of those observances. Many places that are in need of your support, your donations, Ukraine most especially, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, the World Union for Progressive Judaism, and the Federation, any number of places that can use your support, together with many of the sites listed in the social action drop-down as well. And then please book out June 1st for the next social action, Democracy Under Threat and the Way Forward. Much information can be found on our website about that as well. Have I missed anything? Are there any other announcements, any other news, any other celebrations that we should know about from where you sit or from at home? Okay, so while we turn to Motzi, and we have matzah tonight. We know that officially in Israel and in the Reform movement, 7 days is when we conclude, which is tonight, but that there are those who observe until tomorrow night as well. So like we said this morning, we will hear the last crack of matzah tonight, and hope that you'll join us in giving thanks and sharing Motzi. Amen. I'm trying not to sing, if you're finished with matzah and you know it, clap your hands. I'm not singing that tonight. Doesn't feel like our right closing song. So let's go instead to Adon Olam, which can be found on page 625. Shabbat Shalom. We hope that you'll join us in the social hall for some Pesach and some Shabbat sweets. No making faces. For some Shabbat sweets, they might surprise you. We hope that you'll enjoy some fitting sweets as well that helps you extend the beauty of Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.